Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as INEOS back Amorim. Amorim talks nonsense about Mainoo, and also we'll be previewing the Wolves game on Monday night, so you can see that's the predicted lineup. I mean, I sort of look at it and I go, I look at United lineups now, and again, I don't feel guilty for saying this. I look at them and I just think imposter. I mean, there are some I like, but I mean, when did we get to a point where we just don't trust the players wearing the shirt? It's such a sad thing, and I feel like today has been a prime example of that. You know, we've got INEOS coming out, backing Amorim. Got Amorim talking nonsense around Mainoo, where he's contradicting himself. And first and foremost, I look at the league table, I look at the performance, I look at the vision, and I go, how did we get here? How did we get to a point where the owners are so comfortable they can just talk nonsense about backing a manager that really should be under pressure? I'm not saying necessarily sack him, but he should be under pressure, no pressure. You know, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I feel like the only people that make a noise at the moment are the fans. And we're powerless. We don't have any power. You know, somebody messaged me today about Newcastle when they had Mike Ashley, and every game it was relentless chanting to get him out. And imagine what Liverpool would do. Our club, best fans in the world, nothing happening around the Glazers, nothing happening around INEOS. Worst we've played in years, and worst position we've been in for years, and nothing's happening about it. They can just sit there and go, it's fine. And the club continues to decline. And that's where we are. So I'll start off with that, actually. What are your thoughts? It came in from Fabrizio Romano that INEOS are not of a mind to put Amorim under pressure at this stage of the season. I mean, when did we become a football club that it doesn't matter what's happening now? Like, January transfer window, we ignore that because we like to do business in the summer. And you can be absolutely crap in December, but it doesn't matter because it's too early to sack a manager. We've sacked managers in November. We've sacked managers in October. So why is it now not possible to be considering doing that in December? Like I said, I'm not necessarily sure that it's the right thing to do, but what I am sure about is his job should be on thin ice. Like, it's incredibly low standards of a foot, and you don't have to want to sack him. But you do want your club to have standards that when you're performing like that, your job is in jeopardy. I think that's embarrassing that Manchester United Football Club are basically saying a guy's job is safe when we are where we are. Crap football, crap results, crap vision, and no pressure. I mean, that's basically like turning up to work, doing a bad job, doing no work, and then somebody coming in and saying, don't worry, your job is safe. I mean, you're not going to just suddenly start doing well, are you? Maybe a little bit of pressure on him might make him make the changes that need to be made. I mean, I don't know. That might be a bit of out there thinking, but put the manager under pressure, he might start to make changes. I mean, maybe the guy keeps putting Bruno in the midfield because he's getting a pat on the back all the time saying there's no chance we're going to sack you. I mean, if you've got somebody working for you and you keep telling them, it doesn't matter how crap they are, you're going to keep them, they're not necessarily going to start working harder, are they? So, I mean, look, top to bottom, again, the club is a joke, and it will continue to be a joke when you've got Prats running the club. But look, the reason INEOS, very, very quickly, in my opinion, will back Amorim is because he's their pick. He's their pick, isn't it? It's like the stubborn person who knows they've made a bad choice, but everybody knows it was their choice. And you've already made a load of bad choices, and this is a really big bad choice. You can't, if you own it, it actually deflects on you. So if you look at INEOS in their first 2 years at the football club, they've factually taken us into a worse position. We've got a worse win ratio than the previous 2 years. We're in a worse position than the previous 2 years. They've sacked half the workforce. They've spent a load of money. This would be their second sacking in 2 years. It all reflects on them. And also their CEO's not very good. Their director of football's not very good. They're not very good. So they're desperately like this. You know, you might be praying for a hoverboard for Christmas or a new bike. INEOS are going to be praying that the miracle happens and Amorim starts to turn it around. And that's basically how I read the situation. Man United, the great institution that we love, is now in the hands of prayers. Owners that have messed up so much that they're terrified to sack the manager because they'll get the flack. So they're basically praying for a miracle. That's what Man United are praying for. That's the strategy. We're praying for a miracle. And I'll tell you what, maybe we'll get that miracle and it will be the best solution. But how many times does it get this bad and get better? I mean, I know people who talk to me about the late 80s under Sir Alex, and they say it annoys me how people try and frame the late 80s under Sir Alex as being similar to this or similar to Ollie at the end. It's not. Different circumstances, different pathway, different signs of things getting better compared to this, where it just looks like things are getting worse and worse. And, you know, certainly I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson was putting a centre forward in midfield. And I'm not saying Bruno's a centre midfield, but you know, that level of stubbornness is causing us problems. And it shows you weak leadership from INEOS as well. It shows you weak leadership from Will. I mean, look, I look at Jason Wilcox. Apparently he's got a massive thing to do with United. Former Blackburn, former Leeds, former Man City. I'm sorry, mate, it's going wrong. And your CV doesn't have anything to do with United. You terrify me at this football club. Same with Barada, as I said this morning. But one of those people should be pulling him into the office and saying, this is not Man United. This is not Man United. But, you know, it's like a lion pulling you into their office and saying that's not how you swim in the Atlantic. It's not their job. You know, they're not a whale. They're not a shark. They're a lion. They don't live in the water. They don't swim in the ocean. And these Barada and Wilcox and everything, they don't know what Man United is. So how can they pull a manager in and say, you know, you're losing the fans, you're losing games because you're not doing things that United's all about. That's where you need people who know what the club's all about, and they don't. And I think it's a massive, massive problem. But they're going to back him. They're going to back him into oblivion. And what if we did lose to Wolves? They're going to back him. I question now how bad it would have to get for INEOS to sack him. I don't think anybody can get in the comments and tell me how bad it could get. I think we won't lose to Wolves. I don't think we'll lose to Wolves. I think we'll win. And no doubt on Tuesday morning, we'll wake up, we'll do the morning show, and there'll be people saying, oh, you're so negative on here. How is it negative to take 1 point from West Ham and Everton at home? How is it negative to be playing crap football? How is it negative to be criticising using Bruno Fernandes in the midfield and Dalot as a left wing back chucking long throws? That's not negative. That's having standards, mate. But I guarantee you, I don't think even if we beat Wolves, draw with Bournemouth and lose to Villa and Newcastle, so basically 4 points from our next 12, they still won't sack him. They still won't do it. They'll still wait for a couple of games where they can, go, oh, well, look at everything. It's really good. 3 years. It's going to take 3 years. We need change at that football club right at the top. INEOS decisions being bad do not make me surprised because they're basically puppets to the Glazers who really own the football club. That's where we're at. We are going to preview the Wolves game. That's why I've got the predicted lineup there. But also, I just want to talk about a couple of bits of news coming in. Athletic are saying that Mainoo is ready to seek a loan move away from Manchester United in January after becoming deeply frustrated about his lack of minutes under Amorim. I mean, look, we all saw the Paul Scholes Instagram post, which I think has now been deleted very quickly, calling it bullshit that Amorim sees Mainoo as a first-team player and how sad it is to see a player that's not being used. I mean, Amorim, in his Wolves press conference, if you haven't seen it, completely and utterly contradicted himself when asked about Mainoo. And it's funny because I spoke about this yesterday morning about Amorim's frustration in the press conference for the West Ham game about being asked about Mainoo. Well, it got a lot worse after the West Ham game. Very, very visibly frustrated about questions about Mainoo. But the interesting thing is, what he said is that, remember a couple of times over the last few weeks, he's been asked about Mainoo and he said, I almost feel guilty. He's playing so well. He's playing like a first teamer in training, but he's so close to the team, I almost feel bad. Changes his tune now, asked about if Mainoo will get game time over the AFCON. I don't know. It's the same question. I don't know what's going to happen. It depends. If I see in the training it's the best thing, I'll put it. That is the only way I know how to respond to that. So he's now basically saying he's not training well. Because a couple of weeks ago, twice, he said, oh, he's training so well, he deserves to start. Now, oh, I'll have to see what's happening in training. But you said he was doing really well and deserved to start in training. So now you're saying he's not. I mean, contradiction city there. He also said, I understand why you always talk about Mainoo. You love Cobby. He starts for England, but that doesn't mean I need to put Cobby on when I feel I shouldn't be putting Cobby on. So, another brilliant validation for a young player there. And then this is the best one of the lot. He says, I see Mainoo's frustration. I just want to win. I don't look who it is. I don't care about that. I just try to put the best players on the pitch. You've got Agate, he's played 2 games. One of them, Casemiro, was out. Bruno is always fit. He's the guy that is playing in his position, so maybe it's got something to do with that. And I feel like banging the bloody table. I really do think I need to just calm down a little minute here. Take a little breath. So basically, we've got a manager who's being asked about players like Mainoo, who could be given an opportunity in our midfield. And all he comes out with, all I'm interested in is winning. All I'm interested in is winning. Bruno's always fit, so he's the guy playing in that position. So maybe that's why Mainoo's not playing. Hello! 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 You're not winning games, mate, and your midfield shite. It's shit. It's really, really shit. What are you talking about? I just pick a team to win games. You're not winning, mate. You're not winning. I don't know what results you think are happening, but you're not winning. You've lost. You've not won at home in your last 2 games. This is why you're being asked these questions. You're being asked about Mainoo because your midfield shit. And then you're going, I just pick a team to win games. And Bruno's always fit, so that's why I don't pick Mainoo. No, I think when you said Bruno's always fit, I think you got it wrong. Bruno's always shit. Drop him. Put him in the number 10 or drop him. That's what people are saying. People are confused why you won't give Mainoo a chance in Bruno's position when Bruno's fucking shit in it. And don't talk to me about 2 assists against Palace because he could have been playing in goal and got those assists. They were from free kicks that he could have been taking as a right back, a number 10, a centre forward, a winger. It doesn't matter. That's nothing to do with being in the midfield. Those assists happen wherever he plays. And that's the frustrating thing because we're now getting to this stubborn... We've basically got a manager now who is... and I've seen it before... We've got a manager now who not only is trying to win for Manchester United, he's also trying to prove most of this fan base wrong. We've basically got a battle of wills going on here now. So not only is his team bad, he now won't make changes on stubbornness. And this is just, unfortunately, this ain't going to wash. Like, this does not work in modern football. You cannot be that type of a manager and succeed anymore. Look at what Slots had to do with salaries, took him out the team. We've seen Arteta make changes. We've certainly seen, I mean, Pep's one of the best of the lot when it comes to just making changes. You know, he doesn't get wrapped up in that. We've now got a manager that's fighting the press, fighting the fan base to prove that he's right not to pick Mainoo. And our midfield is an absolute joke. So, you know, I sort of look at it and I go, maybe Mainoo's not the answer. That's not even what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is your midfield is redundant. It's absolutely ridiculously bad. And you refuse to give somebody else a chance. And I do not care what anybody says. I cannot for the life of me think that if you gave Mainoo minutes, he'd be worse than Bruno Fernandes in that position. I don't think he would. And I don't know any manager that wouldn't give it a try in the circumstances that we're in. But we'll keep seeing it. We'll keep seeing it game after game after game. And look, a lot of people are saying in the chat, it's so clear you're hammering him out, why don't you say it? Because maybe I'm protecting myself. Maybe I know our ownership is so bloody incompetent, they're not going to sack him anyway. So why bother even talking about it? What we've all got to do here, well, you can do what you want, but what I'm doing here is they're clearly not going to sack him. It's clearly not my choice. I don't think it's going to get any better, but let's all get on our hands and knees and go, please, let's hope this gets better. Let's hope it gets better. You know, we're running one of the biggest and most famous football clubs in the world, and we're basically praying to a God that may not exist. You know? I certainly don't think there's a God up there that's, you know, answering footballing questions for billionaires. But, I mean, that's just, is that not the strategy? Should we not all be doing that? I mean, because there's definitely not going to be a sacking. So you better get on your knees and pray. Panic is on the way, because that's where we're at. But look, talking about Wolves, because I've just realised, meant to be a preview, but those 2 topics are very important. Obviously, get your comments in. In relation to Wolves, I mean, I'm not allowed to predict, am I? I'm still on a ban. But, I mean, look, okay, I won't predict the score here because I'm not getting the blame. But let's have a look at Wolves' home record this season. They've played 7, they've lost 6, they've drawn 1, and they've scored 6 goals. They don't even score 1 goal a game at home. They've conceded 17, so they're conceding 2.5 goals a game. So basically, on average, Wolves get beat 2-0 at home every game. They've not won a game all season. Our away record is mid-table. We've played 7, we've won 2, we've drawn 3, and we've lost 2. We've scored 10 goals and we've conceded 13. So we're conceding nearly 2 goals a game, but we're scoring about 1.5 goals per game. So even on a shit day, we should win this game 1-0. Looking at the stats, Wolves don't score goals. We average about 1.5 goals a game away from home. So on a bad day, we should still win this 1-0. We could play absolutely crap and probably still get a moment of magic or a set piece. So I can't see how you lose this game. I've got De Ligt in the team because apparently he is going to be back for the weekend, even though he missed the game entirely last night. I think Mazraoui's got to play. I gave him man of the match last night. I thought he played really, really well. I would start Martinez. I know Luke Shaw's played 2 games in 4 days, and this would be 3 games in 7 days. Whatever you think about Luke Shaw, he's better off being fit than injured. So I think picking Luke Shaw for 3 games in 7 days, to me, sounds a little bit stupid. 8 days, sorry, wouldn't it be? Because we played Palace on the Sunday. So, and we need Martinez. We need Martinez getting minutes. So I would start Martinez in this game. I think Dalot at left wing back has to start because that's what, Amorim will want. Ahmad, you've got to pick because it's the AFCON very soon, so we may as well get everything we can out of him. Obviously, it's going to be Bruno and Casemiro in the midfield. That's obvious. Cunha against his old club, you've got to do that. Mbeumo, AFCON, and one of our best players, you've got to play him, which means Xerxes up front. So I think the team more or less picks itself as long as De Ligt is fit, which I think he will be. I don't think Maguire will be back for this game. So look, the team picks itself. It should be enough to win. And actually, you know what? I think in any other Premier League season, well, there's normally somebody like... I mean, look, we're playing the worst team in the league by a very long way. They're the worst team in the league for a reason. And I know we were talking this morning about West Ham being Ten Hag's last game. Watford were being Solskjaer's last game. And Wolves could it be Amorim's last game? I don't think it would be even if we lose, but let's be clear. Beating Wolves on Monday night doesn't make you Man City. Everybody does this. Forest just did it on Wednesday. So this should be, everybody should be looking at Wolves this season and going, that's 6 points. And if you drop points against Wolves, you're prats. So look, win this game. It's almost the perfect game after West Ham for him to react to, and we should be winning it without any doubts. Am I going to predict it? Am I bollocks? I'm not predicting a Man United win because I'm not taking the blame. So, that's what it is. Another report has just come in that concern is mounting at Man United over the club's potential failure to qualify for the Champions League next season. I wanted to ask that question. Do you think that we have a chance of European football? Was asked quite a lot in the comments on the morning show. I still think 5th place is just absolutely there. But we only got 40-something points last year. I think if we can get to 60 points, we might get Europa League. But it might... You know what? That's not a massive achievement. 60 points is not a massive achievement. A couple of years ago, that would have been crap. So it's only because we were so bad last year. We have a slim chance of Champions League. We have a chance of Europa League. But I wouldn't say it's a good chance. So, look, it's December. It can still happen. Everybody's beating everybody. But I would be massively concerned I would be massively concerned about Man United in Champions League football because we're not good enough. We're not good enough. Over a 38-game season, I guarantee you Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool will finish above us. Over 38 games, they will. We can all laugh at Liverpool at the moment, but over 38 games, they will do. My concern is Newcastle, Villa, maybe Brighton, maybe Palace, and maybe even Sunderland. Over a 38-game season, how many of those are going to finish above us? Because we actually need to finish above all of them to get 5th place and get Champions League football. And I don't think we will. On the current form, I don't think we will. I think if we bought a midfielder in January and we started to play a different brand of football, things might change. It's not formational for me. It's the brand of football we're playing. We're not moving the ball quick enough and we're constantly hitting long balls because the midfield's dead. So, look, I presume no European football kills us in the summer. When you think about every team in the Champions League basically gets £100 million in their pocket, and Arsenal are heading into year 3 of doing that, that's £300 million of lost revenue for United. So we need European football. And if our ownership is holding out for a miracle that we're going to get Champions League football with this team, well, you know, I'll give you free advice. Not going to happen. So if you need to make a change for that, if Champions League football is do or die for United, now is the time to make the change. But you know what? It costs money. You can't bring a new manager in and get Champions League football with these players. If you think sacking Amorim and bringing a new manager in is going to get us into the Champions League, forget it. These players are still here. So, as I said this morning, you can sack Amorim if you want to. However, the squad is still shit. It really is, and that's the problem. So yeah, I'd be very afraid if I was the ownership, because they've spent a lot of money, they've brought a lot of people in, and we're further away from the Champions League than we were 2 years ago. Facts. Get your comments in. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Lots to get in there. What do you think about INEOS backing Amorim publicly? What do you think about the treatment of Mainoo and the comments about Mainoo? And do you think United can get European football this season? And how likely is it? And also, what are your thoughts on the team for Wolves? Get your comments in, smash a like on the video, make sure you subscribe. I'll speak to you later.